all-knowing and all-powerful, starting with the elderly wolf uncle chapter 91. But out of professionalism, Hill still took a deep breath and raised the megaphone in his hand. 0. This robot is suspected of a large-scale threatening weapon, and it has not been registered. I hope you identify yourself and stop the operation of weapons at the same time. Her magnetic voice, amplified by the megaphone, traveled towards the destroyer. However, Hill's voice just fell. All the patterns on the destroyer on the opposite side suddenly lit up with golden light, and instantly gathered towards its face armor. Next second, the destroyer's upper body leaned forward, and the mask armor opened, revealing the dazzling, powerful and terrifying golden sun underneath. Rumble. A golden laser carrying terrifying heat burst out towards the position where Hill and the others were standing. Hill felt the heat wave coming from the shop, and suddenly felt that death locked him to death, unable to move, so he had to watch the laser coming towards him. Hill, be careful. Fortunately, the Hawkeye next to him reacted extremely quickly and reached out and pulled her away. The golden laser almost clings to Hill's body, and bombards all the vehicles of the task force behind him into slag. Many of the surrounding contingent members were also seriously injured by the debris of the vehicle. Damn, who the hell sent it? Hill looked back with horror on his face, shocked in his heart. With just one shot, the destroyer had already routed their xianxia contingent. I don't know, it's just obviously not what we can handle now. Hawkeye's tone was low, his eyes were serious, and he immediately turned on the communication device and reported the situation at the scene to the headquarters of xianxia. As for the people of the rest of the 313 contingent, they are almost incapacitated at the moment. Hill also felt his legs go limp, and could only helplessly watch the destroyer turn around and walk towards the desert town. It seems that Chen Tian is still in town. She looked at the back of the destroyer who was gradually moving away, and suddenly remembered this matter in a deep voice. It seems that the trouble will be solved soon. Hawkeye paused before saying, although he didn't want to admit it, Chen Tian's strength was beyond doubt. If even he can't solve this silver big fellow, then in a short period of time, no one can really handle it. Damn it. When Hill heard this, he did not refute Hawkeye's words, but only cursed in a low voice. I didn't expect that the problem would depend on an outsider. Meanwhile, Asgard Immortal Palace. After Thor was banished to Earth by mistake, Loki temporarily took the throne with the promise of his mother. He sat high on the throne, manipulating the destroyer, thinking of the powerless expressions of Hill and the others, with a smug look on his face. Damn the Midgards, too, trying to stop the destroyer. This is the wrath of the gods. You don't deserve it at all. Quote. Loki muttered with a smile, and then remembered Chen Tian, who had insulted him last night, and suddenly his face sank, and said coldly, Boy, I originally only wanted to target Thor. Now you will be my brother's funeral object. The words fell, his face suddenly became hideous. Phew, the destroyer who was far away on the earth suddenly accelerated his pace under his control. Every step can step on the ground, stepping on a deep footprint, the earth trembles and roars, carrying smoke and dust in the sky. The destroyer soon came to the town amid the exclamations of the town's inhabitants, fleeing in terror. Next second, rumble. Its face armor turned on again, and a red beam burst out of the energy shock, sweeping over the town's buildings. The power carried in the beam is terrifying, as well as the terrifying heat. In an instant, countless houses burst, endless fire spread out, and in just an instant, a quarter of the town had turned into a sea of fire. Ah, my feet. Quote. Fuck. This damn thing destroyed my house. Damn. Run. This guy is terrifying. Countless people panicked, screamed, and fled in all directions. The once lively and peaceful town has turned into a hell on earth in the midst of fire in just a few seconds. Damn it. This is the destroyer. How could it be here? Then. Thor also heard the movement and rushed out of the room, looking at the familiar silver figure, and froze slightly. Loki is now in control of Asgard. This thing can only be sent by him. His fiancée Sif also walked out, looked at the destroyer, and said with a gloomy face. Except for Sif. There are also Thor's comrades in arms, the three warriors of the Immortal Palace Vandal, Hogan, and Wolstag also ran out, and the expressions on their faces were not good. Sif and the three warriors of the Immortal Palace came to find Thor this morning to bring him back to Asgard. Thinking about it, as soon as the words were not said twice, the destroyer came. Damn. Loki, that guy. The big fat man Wolstag clenched his fists and cursed fiercely. In order to prevent you from returning to Asgard, I actually want to kill you with the destroyer. Why would my brother do this? I don't understand. Thor's expression suddenly became angry and puzzled when he heard this, and he asked loudly. However, seeing that the destroyer was getting closer and closer, he still regained his senses. No, it's too late to say too much. I have lost my divine power now, but I am immortal in the flesh, and staying here is just a burden. Although Thor is no different from ordinary people now, he still calmly made arrangements. You guys first drag the destroyer, by time, I'll go and help evacuate the people in the town. Good. The three warriors of the Immortal Palace are Thor's comrades who have always fought side by side, and they have no opinion on the latter's arrangement. Thor's fiancée, Sif, also focuses on the head. Next second, just after Thor left, several people each took out their weapons, burst out divine power, and greeted the destroyer. Thor, on the other hand, sped through the streets and alleys, helping the panicked townspeople to escape. Asgard Immortal Palace. Through the eyes of the destroyer, Loki sees the four who disobeyed his orders and went to find Thor privately. The face is gloomy and ugly. Now I am the king of Asgard, but you are already loyal to Thor. Where am I inferior to him? Loki gritted his teeth with anger and cursed angrily, raising his hand and waving it. Earth. On a desert town, the pace of the destroyer accelerated again after the three warriors of the immortal palace and Sif appeared. At the same time, all the lines on the body suddenly lit up with a brilliant golden luster, and instantly gathered towards the face armor. The terrifying magic fluctuations, as well as the high temperature, suddenly erupted on its body, and all the surrounding air was distorted at this moment. The three warriors of the immortal palace and Sif felt the pressure from the paving, and their faces froze. For Asgard, Big Fat Wall Stag took out his weapon, his long axe, stared at the pressure and roared. The rest of the people also took out their weapons one after another, bursting out divine power. In their eyes, Loki is nothing more than an opportunistic rat who is not worthy of competing for Thor's throne. Rumble. In an instant, several people suddenly erupted with brilliant divine light. The three warriors of the immortal palace took a step forward, actually preparing to face the destroyer head-on. Sif, on the other hand, held his sword and quickly ran to the back of the destroyer, ready to attack from behind. Next second, the three warriors of the immortal palace flashed in shape, rushed directly to the front of the destroyer, raised their weapons in their hands, and attacked the latter. However, the destroyer also took a step forward, not retreating, and the huge silver arm suddenly swept away. The huge force is like a big wave hitting the shore, the turbulence is unstoppable, and it bursts out. Boom! Directly flew the three warriors of the immortal palace out like three broken kites. The three of them combined to defeat it. Chapter 1 Previous Chapter 91 108